How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel here. Got another video for you guys today. Today, as you can see, we're going to be checking out and reviewing the PlayStation's officially Sony licensed PlayStation 2 VR charging station. This is the box it comes in. Kind of gives you a scale for how big, or I guess how small the PlayStation charging station is. This is the official one from Sony that you can pick up from their website or a lot of other retailers that sell tech and gaming related stuff. But this is the official Sony one. This is what the box looks like, kind of just basic stuff. What comes in the box, of course, the actual stand and station itself. You get all the wires that, of course, you need to plug it in, which we'll get to in a second. It's kind of a bit weirder than you'd expect it to be, but it comes with all the wires, the station, and then the adapters to allow your DualSense controllers to actually charge on the station. So that's what comes in the box. This is the box. Kind of just gives you some specs on the back. Yeah, so let's hop right into this review and kind of give you my thoughts on it. So just right off the bat, this is the actual station itself. It's not very big, pretty sleek, pretty out of the way, as you can kind of see here. It fits, somewhat well into your hand. It perfectly fits both of your DualSense controllers, so they're kind of right up against each other. Very as small as you can really make something like this for those controllers. Very sleek, out of the way, tucks away well, doesn't take up a lot of space obviously. And of course, like really everything, every accessory or anything you can buy for the PlayStation 5 and in this generation is somewhat themed to look like the PlayStation 5 and that whole brand, which is something about Sony and PlayStation that I actually really enjoy, is how they kind of keep everything in a similar kind of vein of fashion, you could say, I guess, with the color scheme and the design. As you see, the white and black, kind of the wavy stuff here. It is similar to how the VR headset and the PlayStation console and the controllers look themselves. Yeah, so it's a pretty nice station. It's heavier than you think it would. It's more durable than it feels more durable, and is more durable than you think it would be. It's not just straight up like flimsy plastic, which is nice. And then on the bottom they have, you can't really see, but you can kind of see the indents there. That's like a rubber padding, so that if it's on a table or something, it doesn't like move around or get knocked around or anything by anything heavier, if anything. So yeah, it's pretty durable. It's a nice stand. The price for this, we'll get into that in a bit, but it is just, as you can see, I believe it's $40 or $50. I want to say $50. Probably should have checked that beforehand, but regardless. It's not the cheapest stand, I'm assuming, or charging station you can find for these, I assume. But yeah, it's officially licensed, and it's a pretty solid product from my experience with it so far. And as well as, you might notice there's no headstand kind of dock or charging station, because again, if you remember the PlayStation, it's kind of over there. The PlayStation headset doesn't need to be charged on its own like a MetaQuest 3, which is over there somewhere. It's a wired connection, so you just plug it into your PlayStation. It doesn't need to be. There are some aftermarket or charging stations that have like a display kind of dock, somewhere to put your PlayStation VR2, but it's not necessary, and it's more for display purposes if it has that. So yeah, let's get into some more kind of how this works and some specs of it. This is the cables, these are the cables that it comes with to charge and connect get this set up. For the stand itself, there's only one input here. You can see there's a little jack right there. That's where you plug one end of this, cable and charging setup into here. And then this, if I can get it untangled a bit, it is a rather long cable, which is good and bad. You have your AC adapter plug right here, pretty standard stuff. Then this, kind of like the PlayStation connection for your console, plugs into a little power brick here, which then has the jack kind of connection here that plugs into the back of the charging stand. So you just plug that right in there, and then you plug this into an outlet or power strip, and your station is set up and it's ready to charge your DualSense controllers when you put them on there. The alternative, obviously, this isn't a necessity of an accessory. This isn't the only way to charge your controller. There's other stands, first of all, or stations, first of all, and there's also, cables. The PlayStation VR2 headset comes with a charging cable in the box, as well as the one that comes with the PlayStation 5 console. The charger controller also works on that. So obviously, you know, there's two different ways, two different cables there, and different ways to charge your Sense controllers. But I will say, from personal experience, having this and not having this, it's very nice to actually have a dedicated charging station for your controllers, rather than just using all the cables from the console and the VR headset box to charge them. That's two different long wires that is kind of cluttering up your PlayStation 5 console area. It doesn't look great, doesn't really work great. And you have one's a USB connection, one's a USB-C connection. It's just a lot of annoying stuff to kind of deal with, honestly. But it works, but it's kind of annoying. As well as the fact that if you're charging both controllers, you can't you can't charge your controllers for your PlayStation 5 at the same time, because those cords are taken up, unless you buy some extra ones. But even then, there's only so many connections you can plug it into. So it's really nice to have. Obviously, it's not a necessity, but it's nice to have. But yeah, so as far as the setup goes, that's how to set it up. Plug it into the wall with an outlet or power strip. And then actually, I'm going to take this off while I showcase it. And then actually the inside of it, obviously this inside portion is where the PlayStation DualSense controllers will sit. And the charging mechanisms, if you can see those little, I don't know, maybe copper sprues right there that do decompress when they get put in. Because this is kind of the back. This is, I guess, kind of what you'd see a front view, but you put your controllers essentially, like this is the right DualSense controller. You essentially line, that sprue is kind of in the front there, and it kind of engraves, it's kind of an engraving almost, and a little notch there that your controller sits perfectly in. So essentially you just line it up with, you know, the indents there, and then you have, you know, your PlayStation controller sitting there, stored away and charging, if it's plugged in, obviously. The sprue is what charges it. It's a pretty small, and these aren't magnetic, by the way. You just have to line these up and compress it and press it in yourself, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is with these type of things. It's not particularly difficult to line it up and press it in, so you don't have to worry much unless you just haphazardly, kind of in a panic or hurry, throw it on there about it charging or not. It's going to be fine regardless. But yeah, so basically once it's on there, it's charging. There's not much of a light or RGB sensors or any, or like display for like, oh, it's green, it's done, it's red, it's charging type of thing, which is kind of annoying. All you can see is kind of the LED light at the back of the PlayStation DualSense controller. If it's lit up, that means it's a good connection and it's going to start charging, is essentially what that is. So that's kind of how you tell if it's charging or not, as well as if you put it on there right, it should be charging regardless, of course. But yeah, so that's the charging mechanism. It's a pretty small kind of room for error and playroom there, but it is what it is. And then the other half, how it charges this, because obviously this is a USB-C port normally. It comes with these two kind of add-ons here in the box for you to insert into your PlayStation 5 or PlayStation VR2 controllers. It comes with these little USB-C inserts here. Goes into the port like so. Snaps in there. You can keep this in here while you're playing or while you're charging, doing anything. You don't have to take these out. Goes into your USB-C port, and then allows you to, you know, receive those other copper sprues on the charging dock, and that's what charges it. So you don't actually have to like physically plug in your PlayStation VR2 controllers like you would with the normal USB-C cable. So two of these, you know, one for each controller, comes in the box, so this isn't something sold separately or that you have to have. And yeah, my experience with this so far, it's worked fantastically. I always kind of noticed when I was charging it with the cables originally from, you know, plugged into the PlayStation 5, that the charging was kind of slow, and also the two different cables used, one for the dedicated to PlayStation VR2 headset and the one, you know, for the controller, seemed to have charged at different rates almost. So that one, whichever, you know, one was, you know, fully charged and one was like 75%, which isn't a huge issue, especially if you're not going to be gaming for a huge amount of time, which in VR, because you're standing in a movie, and generally isn't the case anyways. But it's kind of weird and annoying that the, you know, charging is kind of out of sync and different timings and stuff, as well as having to manage those cables. And I have kind of a table, as you can kind of maybe see in the background, where I keep all my VR and like gaming stuff and the boxes and everything. that I kind of like to keep in one place and display, that I have to, kind of mess with when I was charging them with a cable through the console, which is, over behind you guys. So it helps with organization. It helps with, like, it looks good when you display it. I'll show you guys kind of quickly here what it looks like when both DualSense controllers are kind of in the dock. This is a front view of what it looks like. And then this is, back view of what it looks like. It looks very nice. The style and color schemes obviously go together. I think they did a great job with the display and design of these things. The functionality works great too. It's sleek out of the way. It doesn't take up much space. Looks great. Functions amazingly. If you, make sure you get those tiny kind of charging port lineups as correctly as you should. Which, again, if you're not in a panic or not rushing for whatever reason, just throw it on there. It's very easy and quick to put these on and make sure they're actually in the right spot to charge. And then, yeah, I think it looks great. It's officially licensed. I always like buying first-party stuff if I can. Obviously, third-party stuff is good too, and it's, sometimes it's a necessity. But, I mean, personally, I like staying within the brand if I can, just because I know it's going to work. I know it's going to be, compatible. I know there's not going to be an issue. It's going to look nice. And, yeah, I think that's exactly what Sony did. I think they really did a great job of hitting that target. And this is the product we got. It looks great, functions great, and I think it's a very helpful and convenient accessory to have. Obviously, again, it's not a necessity, but it's very nice to have and add to your setup, especially if you use the VR headset often, or even if you don't. Because even if you don't use it very often, take months off, the controller's going to be dead. You have to plug them in. You might not even end up using it at all. But these, you can kind of just leave charging, so on the dock and sit there. So I personally really like this accessory. And last thing I really wanted to touch on here was, is it worth the price, full or on sale, to pick up this PlayStation 5 accessory, this charging station that they have, when there's probably cheaper and I'm sure somewhat reliable third-party options that maybe look different or have, more RGB lights or whatever. Is it worth the $50, I'm gonna say, for the PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 2 VR, officially licensed by Sony charging dock, charging station over a third-party thing? And again, that comes down to consumer preferences, of course, whether you are looking for something different design or functionality wise, or whether that money is something you have to spend, or if it's worth it to you to spend. Personally, I can say I am not at all disappointed in my purchase of this at full price, and especially if you get it on sale for some reason, it is definitely a great pickup. And I'll just say that also, I mean, I looked into some other, cheaper third-party charging stations for the DualSense controllers, and honestly, I didn't like how much, I guess you could say, how much room it took up, especially the ones that had the stands for my headset, because I didn't really want something for that. This was just easy. It was easy to grab, easy to get, easy to find online or in store. So me personally, I like it. The price might be a little high for some people, but it's regardless still a great charging stand, great charging station, I should say. And me personally, I think it's worth the price, especially if you have the money. But that's kind of up to you. I think that is kind of the biggest cliffhanger or what if or stuff, or a little hitch with this, is the price point compared to especially third party stuff. I haven't seen everything, but I'm sure there's cheaper out there. And that's, again, I think it's personally worth it. I think I've had a great experience with this, and it works very well. It's very functional. But again, that's up to you. And yeah, kind of just to end the video here, I wanted to give this thing 0 through 10 score based on all of the kind of information I've told you, based on all the factors that we've talked about today. And I'm going to give the PlayStation's, Sony's officially licensed PlayStation 2 VR DualSense, charging station out of 10. I'm gonna give this thing a 9. I know I've been giving a lot of high scores recently, and there's a reason for that. 2, I don't really like buying a lot of junk, first of all, because as you can probably tell from the size of my channel and the setup and everything, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I don't really have any brand links at this point either. everything I review is either something I bought or a gift I've received. So it's all stuff that I, personally use, I believe in, I wanted to buy. There's not really much stuff I just buy to review. Maybe that will change at some point, just to see, buy stuff to review it and see how it works and everything. But at this point, I'm reviewing stuff that I've purchased or, received as a gift myself. And those are generally going to be good stuff that I use, stuff that I believe in, not because they're sponsored or anything. So I just wanted to kind of clear that up of why I'm giving a lot of high scores and reviewing a lot of, in my opinion, good products. That's the reason, because, this is all out of pocket for me, and I'm not a billionaire or anything. So the stuff that I do get as gifts or buy myself has to be stuff that I kind of like and believe in. So that's why, and I've had a great experience with this. Price may be a little high for some people, but I personally think it's worth it, especially if it's on sale, and I've really liked the functionality of it personally. So yeah, give this thing a 9 out of 10. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what your experiences with this is, or your opinions are with this charging station, or any questions, or really just anything. Remember to like and subscribe, really helps out the channel, and I appreciate you guys viewing. Hope you guys have a happy holidays, happy New Year's, and I'll see you guys in the next video.